4 decades of relentless advocacy and conservation of their cultural identity, all to be recognized on the land that was so cruelly taken from them. In 1920, the Bureau of Indian Affairs purchased 15.45 acres of land in Graton, California. This incentivized the federal government to consolidate the Coast Miwok, Southern Pomo, and neighboring groups into one federally recognized entity, the Federated Indians of Graton Rancheria. Without federal recognition comes the devastating loss of inherent rights, federal benefits, services, and protections, including the inability to utilize casinos as a vital method of self-sufficiency. There are 3 ways a tribe can gain federal recognition, all of which require proof of a distinct culture. The unique basketry practices of the Federated Indians of Graton Rancheria aided significantly in highlighting their independence and therefore enabling them to achieve this federal status.
California Basketry, it's like a beautiful statement about what kind of a culture, what kind of flora people live in, because you can see it in all the material in the basketry.
We have very distinct ways we're trained, and then also with design, that's something, we add black root, or you can add red bud, or, different materials.
Well, Coast Miwok people made 2 kinds. They made coil baskets, they made twine baskets. What the Coast Miwok do that's distinctive is the Coast Miwok on their really fancy baskets, they just decorate them beautifully with feathers and beads that excel from all the other Miwok groups. They're just absolutely magnificent baskets.
Coast Miwok has their own style that I can almost spot anywhere.
It's something that is really difficult to do, and not many people can do it. It's a way of artistic expression and keeping it alive and keeping it relevant and making sure that people are still talking about it.
Until fairly recently, in the last probably 20, maybe 30 years at the most, basketry has been revived among Native people wanting to preserve their cultures. And so that's a wonderful thing, because, it increases a sense of pride in the culture, a sense of identification in your culture, and a sense of the integrity of the culture.
When you're doing basketry, oftentimes you're in an environment with your community of a full spectrum of generations. And what happens within our tribe is a sharing of story and sharing of experience and knowledge and the values that go with the basketry around, not taking more than what you need.
They were able to move forward to federal recognition. And so federal recognition was a big step from the Federated Coast Miwok to become the Federated Indians of Graton Rancheria.
It was a very legalistic process and so on. They were federally recognized on the last day of President Clinton's administration.
That actually allowed opportunity for us to practice various types of services and programs and be eligible for funding, and also to be protected under certain laws that are dictated by the federal government to allow us to protect various cultural sites where we might gather for basketry.
So your identity vis-a-vis the government is controlled by the tribal entity that you fall within.
My understanding about federal recognition is the need to show that you have been in that place all through time, and to have genealogies that show that the people who are alive today are connected to people who lived in the area in the past.
To be honest, having federal recognition as a Native American group is really very much like having the executioner tell you you have a nice neck.
I think that recognition and change of recognition is a direct effect of creating dysfunction and disadvantages that have disproportionately affected our families and our community, and why it's so important to have basketry and these cultural practices, because it does provide a level of healing and togetherness.
I think the worst thing that's happened to us is this notion that we are somehow monolithic, that this tribe is anything like that tribe. So any question about anything Native American has like a million answers, and they are all really complicated. And I think they're intended to be complicated so that they can't be corrected easily. I think people who wanted to steal shit created a circumstance where it was hard to track the theft.
There was another enactment that was passed that created a termination era in the 50s. And with that, it basically said, okay, we're going to take your rights away as tribal people. We're not going to recognize you as Native Americans. We worked really hard to get our rights restored, which is what happened in 2000. And from that point in time, allowed us then to really begin to address the social betterment for our community.
The most beautiful thing about our culture is how it has been able to withstand the test of so much.
Restoration, much like recognition, is being able to demonstrate your unique culture. With that, we also had to provide extensive genealogical records dating back from the mission time that we're, in fact, Coast Miwok people. You're establishing and demonstrating a continuation of your community in terms of your cultural practices, such as basketry, which we were able to do. That type of information was helpful in supporting the continuity and existence of the Coast Miwok people, and rights that are a part of your inherent sovereignty